Okay, I've pressed the button. Video is commencing. Yeah, it's like another edition of what the hell did he say? Yeah, anyway. Yeah, the response sort of to conversation by a conference reports guy who I sort of like. I mean, it seems interesting, very philosophical and such. But I don't know, maybe he's wacky too. And yeah, Professor Anton again, of course. Whatever. 10 minutes of blah 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 blah. I can't make anything out of this crap. All right. So anyway, the conference report started with conversation about self and what we are, and how we contain this thing. And and Anton sort of ended it with some sort of like it's a mysterious process beyond either or categorization. And it's just like bullshit. There's lots of either ors that can be defined about human beings. But anyway, all right, the whole self thing. The self thing is defined basically because we feel. We do that individually. This thing, this container of billions of cells has a consciousness, and it is subjected to this good and bad feeling thing. And it's just a very personal thing. Okay, you can imagine somebody else's feelings, but like any other imagined thing, it's really not the same. You can't do it in 3D. You can't do it in full color. You just can't. Okay, especially feelings. There's a lot of things you can imagine, and you sort of get away with it, and the fantasy almost duplicates the real mental image. But it's really hard to just create feelings. It just doesn't happen. You've got to make them happen through the senses, through the physical hardware. And so that's really what defines as self, is that it's the feeling part. That's just so personal and so core. I don't know. There's no other word. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't even matter anyway. All right. So what are we? This individual thing, yeah, so it has this core of feelings, ability to be harmed, hurt, sensitivity, needs, desires, all that crap. And part of that is programmed, and part of this whole process that I'll get into. Yeah, I think I'll stop right here, though, just to interrupt my own video. Yeah, I did want to get to a couple of points, though. Is that, this philosophy thing just isn't going to work unless we figure out some way to categorize, to pigeonhole, to organize the conversation, because we're just rambling on all kinds of subjects all over the place. There's just no obligation to stick to a subject or to nail something down and say, okay, this is going to be a premise, and this is going to be a premise, and this is going to be a premise, and now we can move forward now that we've established these premises. Instead, we have to keep reestablishing the premises, regurgitating the same crap over and over and over and over and over, rehaving the same arguments over and over and over. It just really sucks. And it does make it all kind of tedious and boring, and there's very little continuity. And, I really, yesterday I noticed that Heidi said she made a video. And, I like Heidi. We can get along and all that stuff, so I'm not saying anything negative against her. And it's not her fault. But, I mean, she has this pretty lame video. I'll post a link. And it's just a video. It's just a, oh, my life has kind of gotten butterflies and rainbowy and blah, 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 blah. It was just a video. It wasn't, nothing outstanding, nothing. And it's got 250,000 views. And you're just saying, what the hell is wrong with this medium? I mean, it's just crap. Because probably most of those views were just like, oh, I thought this was going to be like some hot chick showing her boobs or something. And so they probably only watched 10 seconds of the damn thing. But I mean, it's just the idea of it. This whole popularity thing, this whole thing, like videos get, they do this viral thing, and it's not a good thing. It's a negative thing, because videos get clicks that they haven't earned, that don't have anything to do with their content. And obviously, the system of ratings and all that crap is a big fat fail, because obviously it's just not working. I mean, it's stupid, and we should do something about it. Yeah. Somebody should do something about it, because it's just it's not separating the cream from the fat or any of that kind of crap. But anyway, all right, so that's the interruption. So back to the self crap. when what we are, we're reflexes. That's the nature of the beast, basically. The nature of a brain is a reflexive organ, and somewhere in that process of just being a collection of reflexes, when you do this language thing, you end up with a logical disposition. I think that's part of what nature made. I mean, it created organisms. I mean, it rewarded organisms that had reflexes conducive to logical thinking. Because really the obligation of the organism was to have intelligence that made them capable, gave them greater potential to navigate their environment. And if their brain was creating false impressions and false maps, then that wouldn't get rewarded over time, because they wouldn't be able to navigate successfully. I mean, if they thought tyrannosauruses were, friendly bunnies, they're not going to live too long. Okay, so anyway, so that's what we've been involved with, and now we have this language thing. And the language, it's just a symbolic language. For every word, you have a reflexive response. Your brain reflexively responds with associated words and associated memories, creates a context for that word. That's your context, and every individual is going to have a little different context. You could say something like Arab, okay, and that would have a context for you. That would stimulate words, Islam, nutty terrorists, crazy motherfuckers. But then you could have had a personal experience where some Arab guy, even wearing a turban maybe, came to your rescue, like you were stranded on the side of the road and the car was on fire and everything was going wrong, and all of a sudden super Arab guy showed up and he just helped, and he put the fire out and he fixed your engine, and he did everything. He even cleaned your windshield. I mean, just fixed your life, just helped the hell out of you. And so now your context has this memory, this bit of information in it that's going to be very dominant because it's a personal experience. And so it's going to be hard for you to have the same impression. Your view is going to be changed by that. The lens with which you look at the new day is going to change. But that's all we are. We're just these reflexes. And as stated, I think the basic nature of the brain is to be rational, to be a reasoning machine. And so it's going to filter out bullshit over time. It's going to learn principles like, well, you can't trust every statistic, and it can be distorted based on how they look at the statistical relationship, and that there's causes to effects, and that so we gain this faculty of being a pyro-type suspicious, to apply scrutiny to a proposition, to pick it apart, and to be sure, to force our perceptions to have credibility. And obviously part of us sits there and keeps trying to defend certain presumptions because they're core, because we have an attachment to them, because they make us feel better or something. And maybe religion fits in that category. People acquire it in their youth, basically. It's something associated with their parents, a whole bunch of family type experiences. So yeah, that one's going to be a little hard for them to extract with real perspective. So even if they know, statistically, yeah, I can see what's happening here, it's just psychology. The Arabs think they're right, and they think everybody thinks that way because mommy and daddy told them to think that way, and yeah, I get it. And it's really 2,000-year-old bullshit. And I know if somebody was telling a story for 2,000 years, people can't tell a story through 10 different people, and the story turns into crap. They get the names wrong, they get the time wrong, they get the number of people in the story wrong. Eyewitness testimony really sucks, so you can know that as a fact. And that, this all provides context. But like I said, those things that are connected to your personal experience are still going to be a little harder to overcome with raw facts that come in. But theoretically, there's nothing stopping your brain from being able to do it, from to gaining enough credibility where those thoughts that run in your head saying, you're full of shit, they can be loud enough where you'll say, okay, Yeah, I'll let my brain, start scrutinizing my emotional bullshit, and so yeah, we can be anything, but we're always going to be dictated by this experience thing. You go through this life thing, and you acquire these experiences, and you absorb knowledge through them. An experience is reading a book. An experience is watching TV or a documentary, or this video is an experience. It will fiddle around with your word associations, and it may do it in some meaningless, subtle way, or it may do it in some dramatic, profound way where it completely changes your reflexive reaction to a word, an important word. But yeah, I guess the thing I wanted to focus on is reflexes. This is a key word because that's what our brain is made of reflexes. We're just reflex